I'm Larry Fedoruk, and this is I Was 8. Hope you're enjoying the bonus season so far. Hey, let's get right to this week's story.
I Was 8, The Lost Episodes. Number 3, The Dancer.
What did I want to be when I grew up? At age 8, I don't recall that being on my mind that much. At age 8, it wasn't so much what I wanted to be when I grew up, more like what did I want to be today? Well, I want to be on time for school, I want to be having fun at recess, and I want to be home right after school watching cartoons, drinking a big fat Pepsi. All you really had to be was a kid. Oh, there was stuff you had to do, but what you did wasn't what you were. You know, like grown-ups. They were accountants, doctors, truck drivers. That's what they were, even though that's just what they did. At 8, you did stuff, but what you did wasn't what you were. The main thing you had to do was be. Just be. I'm sure you follow. We discussed it occasionally. When I grow up, I'm going to be a cowboy, a race car driver, a spaceman. Now that I think about it, I'm not sure we really wanted to be those things as much as we just wanted to do those things. Do cowboy stuff, race car stuff, space stuff. We didn't really get everything else we'd have to do to be that person. We just wanted to do the things we thought they did. Mom, when I grow up, I'm going to become a spaceman. Ooh, that's great, son. You'll have to really study a lot of science in school. What? Oh, well, to hell with that then. Never mind. What? I mean, to heck with that. I mentioned cowboy, race car driver, and spaceman because those were the big three when I was 8. Cowboy is obvious, lots of cowboy heroes on TV, horses, guns, beans by a campfire. I loved beans. What an ideal life that would be. When we'd go to the city, we'd go to the Woolworths, and Dad would put a dime into the bucking horse ride beside the lunch counter. I could really ride, man. Often I'd go for a second and third ride until Dad said he was not made of money. He was right. He wasn't. So I would just sit on the horse and pretend it was bucking while my parents shopped. If another kid showed up with a dime, I'd tell him to get lost. Sitting on the horse waiting for my dad, he's going to go change $1, then I'm going to ride for like 10 rides. I only said that to kids smaller than me, but wow. Couldn't wait to be a cowboy with a real horse. Wouldn't need no stinking dimes just to go for a ride. I mean, I love the mechanical horse, but it wouldn't be real practical, for real cowboy life. Hey, Sheriff, bank robbers are getting away out of town. Are you going to chase them? Yeah, sure. You wouldn't have a dime on you, would you? Race car driver seemed easy. Steering a car, I'd done that. Spaceman dropping down the list because of the recent revelations of required education. I did not have any professional sports aspirations. I mean, I like baseball, football, road hockey. Oh, by the way, road hockey is what we called street hockey. Street hockey was some city-fied, wimpy game. In our small town, we lived on streets, but we played hockey on the road. Hey, Larry, go play on the road. Hey, you bet. Watch for cars? I don't think so. I think they better watch for us. As you know from past episodes, I didn't skate. So though I was pretty good at road hockey, what to aspire to? I mean, in the NHL, they wouldn't let you just play in your winter boots no matter how fast you could run. Hockey career was out. When I got older, some sadists in our town organized some broomball teams, so I did get to play on the Waka Arena ice surface. Broomball. What a big surprise that didn't catch on as a major league sport. You already know about my love of comedians. I really thought that was great, but I didn't think I could actually be one in real life. Of all the things I thought I might want to be, I find it interesting that I didn't know anyone who really did them. Our town had no cowboys, race car drivers, or spacemen as residents. I think we had a few comedians. That's what my dad said. Everyone's a comedian these days. That's what he'd say. But I never actually met any of them. Also, of all the things grown-ups in our town did, none of us kids wanted to be any of those things. A lot of my relatives were farmers. That's cool, but not for me. Mom was a teacher. I guess I could do that. I don't take tests, I give them. Now buckle down, mister. Dad was a bartender. That seemed somewhat interesting, because everyone was always glad to see Dad, and he'd hand them their medicine. Plus, Dad got tips. The druggist never did. These were all good jobs. Almost everyone in town had good jobs, but we kids, we didn't want to be that. Well, there was that one thing I thought I could be, Mr. Mampture. He owned the candy store. Yeah, I could do that, be a candy store owner. Yeah, how would I do that? I'd have to buy a store, get some shelves, order some inventory, try not to eat the profits. I need to paint a sign, and to hell with it. Let's go play cowboys. Now, I have never admitted this to anyone in my life, including, for years, myself. But when I was 8, I really wanted to be a dancer. Can you imagine an 8-year-old boy in a prairie town back in the day telling his friends he wanted to be a dancer? I couldn't imagine it. That's why I never mentioned it. What kind of dancer? Well, the obvious one. A TV dancer. I'd seen grown-ups dancing at weddings and such. Yeah, not that. Some did square dancing. Definitely not that. Not ballet. Tap dancing? Well, kind of like that, but not that either. I'd seen Fred Astaire in the movies. Not bad, but not that. Incidentally, I grew up thinking that Fred Astaire was a one-name star, like Liberace, Ravine, Kreskin, Fred Astaire. He only needed one name, and it was an exotic one, Fred Astaire. When I got older and realized he was just some guy named Fred, what a disappointment. Fred Astaire, Fred Astaire, that's a star. But Mr. Astaire, can I call you Fred? Freddie? Freddie boy? Which reminds me, funny aside, my ex went for years thinking that every New Year was rung in with Auld Lang Syne traditionally played by Mr. Bardot's orchestra. Mr. Bardot, first name, Guylam. Guylam Bardot. What kind of name is Guylam anyway? Oh, who cares? What a band. And he's Canadian, Oh, Canadian, you don't say. Yeah, Guylam. Guylam is Canadian. Oh, yeah, she told that story about herself. I always made fun of her. And then I remembered, oh, yeah, Fred Astaire. Anyway, moving way too far ahead, back to dancing at age 8. I guess the term is jazz dancer. Those background dancers who performed on Ed Sullivan and The Gary Moore Show, featuring the June Flatman Dancers. And now here's Rosemary Clooney with the Ted Stanker Dancers. Well, I don't remember the dance troupe names, but wow, that was so cool. I wanted to do that. I had no idea about choreography. I just saw them running around and jumping to the music. Seemed less organized and much more fun than a hockey game. Gotta dance. Here's something else that was happening at the time. Kids not that much older than me, teenagers, were starting to show up on TV dancing. Dancing to rock and roll. Guess what? They didn't even have to hold hands or follow the instructions taught to them by their parents. They just moved to the groove, did their thing. If it feels good, do it. Do it till you're satisfied. Well, okay, a little much, but, dancing was not some formal thing. Dancing was whatever you wanted it to be. Oh, glorious new day. At 8 years old, I took up dancing. Informally, on my own. Whenever possible, I danced. I danced like nobody was watching. Oh, yeah, I made sure of that no one was watching. Somehow felt the grown-ups wouldn't approve. Hey, it's not like we lived in Footloose, Saskatchewan or anything. Dancing was allowed. But I sensed not this kind of dancing, not the dancing I did. Mom and Dad and some of my relatives would hear my favorite songs and they'd say, "Oh, that's not music." And I thought that's what they'd most likely say about my dancing. That's not dancing. Oh, but it was. After school, when I got home, I danced. Weekends up in my room, I danced. Not only was I going to be a dancer, I was a dancer. You know, we didn't watch TV as a family. The TV was more of a Larry toy. So when the June Flatman dancers came on, I danced with them. If I heard Mom coming in the living room, I'd sit down quickly. Larry, what are you doing?
Nothing. Watching TV.
Why are you sweating?
I am? Yes. Well, perhaps it's a fever. I'd better miss school tomorrow.
I wanted to have friends over after school to dance. I just couldn't bring myself to ask them. Plus, word gets out that 8-year-old grade 3 Larry is a dancer. Bullies would be making appointments to beat me up. I wanted to form my own TV dance troupe, but instead, my dancing was solo, private, and alone. That wasn't so bad, though, 'cause once the music started, I danced. All the other problems went away. I ran, I jumped, flailed my arms, shook my head, shook my whole body. I was dancing. Sometimes I didn't even need music, at least not the radio or the records. I could already hear the song in my head and I could just dance to that. I was getting really good. If I knew how to get a hold of June Flatman from TV, I'd call her up and join her troupe. One of my best routines involved jumping up on the piano bench, sliding back and forth on it, my stocking feet, and then leaping over to the couch, then jump on the couch for a while. One day I decided to add a new move. I would jump off the couch, over the coffee table, land, then do a somersault into the next room, ending in a standing position. Never done before in the history of dance. I got the music in me, spring, leap. And as the old saying goes, missed it by that much. Hit the table hard. Tumbled onto the floor. Luckily, my momentum curtailed by my head hitting the wall. Next few minutes, kind of a blur. I may have been unconscious. When I started to get my wits about me, I realized my head hurt, but there was no blood. That's good. The coffee table survived. Good old-fashioned old-school craftsmanship. The bowl on the coffee table, not so much. Shattered into pieces on the floor. I quickly swept it up, wrapped the shards in some newspaper, not only putting it in the kitchen garbage, but underneath the existing garbage. The only question being now, would Mom notice the bowl was gone? Dad wouldn't, but Mom, she noticed such things, like wedding gifts suddenly disappearing from existence. She noticed I was prime suspect. I went with the classic, I don't know defense. I was a great dancer. The only thing I was better at was lying. I denied it so many times. Eventually, Dad became a suspect. Dad said he had no idea about the bowl. Yeah, right. Likely story, right, Mom? Oddly, that took the steam out of my dancing career. I still danced, but I did it mostly in my room, and I toned it down a lot. It was less fun. Today, I still really enjoy dancing when no one is watching.
Thanks for listening to I Was 8, a weekly podcast voiced, written, and produced by Larry Fedoruk. This podcast is available on most major platforms, or check out the I Was 8 YouTube channel. Larry Fedoruk, that's Fedoruk, can be reached at larryfedoruk37@gmail.com.